Kia ora, this is Tika Cross. You know you're in the Cook Islands when you're listening to Matariki FM.
E te atake, I roto I te atanga ko te PittBull e te Don o tā rao tuonga tutua Tika, I roto I te popongi aka I. At this time, folks, the PittBull and the Don for some straight talking this morning. Kia ora, good morning to you, George.
Yes, good morning. It's a good morning to the Don and our listeners, and sorry I'm late. There's just too much excitement around the place this morning. I left home at 7:10. There's only a 10-minute drive to here, but somehow I got delayed by some excited Cook Islands Party people. Wanted to talk about the election. I said, look, I've got to go. Well, I'm here. Thank goodness.
Okay, let's get straight into it because we're going to have a shorter period today.
Right. Let's not muck around.
Okay, all right. Well, the media influence both individuals and policymakers. A bit of a revolution in this Rapa by-election, don't you think?
Well, I just think the demos need to go and start looking in the mirror.
Oh, we're not talking about them, we're talking about us.
Oh, us?
The media.
Oh, yes, well.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but the other night, the other evening on Radio Cook Islands, I made some predictions, and they just about came right.
Yeah, no, I told you who I thought. It'll be 1 Albert, 2 Taina, and...
Yeah, but I
was right.
I said the numbers, I didn't say it was close. I didn't say it was, I said it was going to be a landslide.
Come on,
it was a
George.
landslide. I said, John Henry wouldn't even get 30 votes. And I did, and I said, Tony, I want you to play this whole thing back today on your program. I said, Taina Rongo would be lucky to get 160. Well, he got 3 extras.
Yeah. Okay, well...
60. There's 60
odd still to be counted, yeah.
And Albert would get vast majority of those.
Yeah. So at 2014, 550 people voted. That's the final count. So there's just a fraction more than that. So I wonder why the others aren't voting. Well, the other 160 odd people.
The Cook Island News said it was a brisk and good turnout, but that's not true.
Did you hear the Minister of Finance yesterday call it fake news?
Fake news? Well, he's right, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's another fake news then, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, they should be ashamed of themselves.
Okay. No, let's get back to the result of last night. Okay. There's no need to do the extra 60 odd thing.
No.
They can swear them in today.
They'll never win that seat for the next couple of elections, as long as Albert wants to be there.
Yeah.
The seat is his. And as much as they tried to smear and tarnish his name and say he was disloyal, that was all discarded by the people.
Yeah.
The likes of Wilkie Rasmussen, he's the last person to talk about loyalty, and we don't need to waste our time talking about him. But the Tina Brown made this bold headline statement in the Cook Island News front page. They gave her front page headlines where it says that Brown has bad news for Nicholas, saying that this is all going to be his undoing and he's going to be on the political wilderness in the scrap heap, and what a load of nonsense. It just shows that her level of political intelligence, her level of political comprehension, and just shows you that she is not connected, has no intel, and nor is Wilkie Rasmussen. Just a bunch of dreamers. And the big other headline in the Cook Island News was D-Day looms for Vakajumper. D-Day? Well, it's more like the Dumb Demos Day. And where was the likes of the so-called strategist Eddie Drollett? Well, he stayed well away from this one because he didn't want to be tarnished with their defeat.
Yeah.
But this is the writing on the wall for the demos that I bet you they don't even do an analysis and find out why they lost after thinking that they were going to change the government. This is how shallow their political thinking is. Shows you that they've got no tacticians, no strategists, and they're not connecting to the people. Absolutely shambles for them. And all those that criticise the media for having a correct analysis of the political situation, they can all go and eat rotten eggs today, mate. Eh? Yeah. I'm going to gloat today because there were so many of them criticising Albert that he was talking to me. You know, Albert came to me as a media person because, like any other person, you go to the media if you want to advertise your campaign and you know, book some space on television or time, and because he did that, you know, he was severely criticised by saying, you know, George Spitz supporting him. Look, if anybody comes to me and says, I want to spend some money in your media, I'm not going to chase them away. And even if I don't like them, I'm not going to chase them away. I get bagged on my radio regularly by CIP people, and I don't chase them away. You know, I believe in the freedom of speech. But the trouble is, the freedom of speech with the demos has made them look silly. They're an embarrassment to themselves.
Yeah. Well.
Sorry, I know this is hurting your feelings, but you know, we gotta be real about it. We're media people. We don't take sides. We just you know, say what we see and
when
what we
I
know.
wear my media hat, you know, everything's fair game. So,
well, why are there tears coming down your eyes then?
Oh, hold on. Can you see tears? Come on, George. Stop whacking me in the head this morning. But it came to pass.
It came to pass, that's right. And it came to pass.
Have you met up with Stan Hankins?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I'd like to.
That sort of sidetracked there for a moment. You like my T-shirt? Yeah. Anyway, okay. Where to do you think then for... Well, I mean, that's John Henry, I guess, out of the political arena for good.
That's right.
Yeah. Unless he joins the Democratic Party. And for Tainarongo, he'll have to go and start looking for a new job today.
Well, he did say on the radio yesterday it was going to come down to the special votes. And this is how out of touch he is. He didn't bring anything new. You know, he was promoted as a visionary and educated Cook Islander. Yeah. You know, educated. Yeah. You know, you can learn just as much by being in a taro patch about life and what exists around you. You know? Yeah. You know, wisdom's not reserved for the educated, William. You know, the Bible makes that very clear.
George, you know, the old owl that sort of hangs around in Avatu, what they came up our way last night. Hive of activity at the Nicholas place without the winning candidate. Pretty much dead at the other two places. Not even the leader, I understand, was at Tainarongo's camp, and not too many people at the other place, at John Henry's place. Yeah. Did you get any reports from?
Well, I was invited to go down to the victors' celebration. I was getting texts, I was getting phone calls, and I said, "Look, you know, it's a cold night, and I'm on a bike. Yeah, and you don't have the luxury of a government vehicle or a, expensive pickup. So I said, look, congratulations, good on you. Yeah. It was as I predicted, because the signposts were all there, the indicators were there, that it was going to be a handsome win for Albert Nicholas. Yeah. And Albert's team, were working right to the last minute. They didn't take anything for granted. And that showed a good, mature sign when it comes to politics. So-and-so said they're going to vote for me, and this one's going to vote. Yeah, people say that so that you'd leave their homes. But it's interesting, where does this thing go from here?
Electoral petition?
No. There won't be any of that.
Well,
Bim will be looking for a new job soon, down at the wharf. Yeah.
You think so?
Yes.
What do you know?
Well, I know this, that the demos are most likely now to dissolve their partnership with One Cook Islands. They've already tried. Yeah. They sent Tupou to a caucus meeting demanding that saying we want some changes and this is what we want. He was told to get out of the caucus meeting. He's not He's not an elected member of parliament, but he was there because Tina had sent him to start putting the pressure. So in due course, you'll see the demos fly their own flag. They will have to resign to the fact that they're not going to become government unless they can win at the polls. They're seriously in debt. They are insolvent. They got a leader that no one is following. She when she talks, it's obvious she's got a scatterbrain when it comes to politics. She's enlisted someone to help her with her media statements, which is something she denied she needed. But she's a long way off even unifying the Democratic Party.
Okay, George, let's look at what's happened last night. Tomorrow will be the final count, and that's according to Taki, and that's all over, dusted, put away, right, until about November next year. So government has got the mandate now with 12 certified members in Parliament, and they don't need anyone else. They can run the country right through till November next year, or when the elections are announced. The problem now for the other side, you've highlighted the OCI issue, but even a more pressing issue is the leader in Parliament for the Democratic Party. Who do you think?
Well, I was about to tell you what's going to happen.
Oh, it takes you so long to get there, George.
Yeah, because you're wasting our time.
Get on with it.
They're going to dissolve this partnership.
Yep.
And that's going to cause a bit of
is that something you know, or is it something
I'm telling you what's going to happen.
Okay.
I've looked in my crystal ball.
Okay.
I told you what would happen on election night, and I'll keep rubbing that in.
Keep going.
The thing is that if you want to be successful, go to people that know what they're doing and what they're saying, and that have the means to help you.
Right.
And that's what Albert did. Now, we can't claim all the reason that he won, but you see, he was media friendly.
Why not?
He was media friendly, and that helps. You see. Now, who are the demos going to blame now for their stupidity and just their nonsensical approach to this whole campaign?
Right.
Got a novice in there that half the time she didn't even know what was going on. He should have been ripped over the knuckles for telling lies. But they persevered, said he was a wonderful person. That's a lot of nonsense. You're going to put up somebody now, the media will scrutinize that person.
Well, obviously.
But let's move on from they will try. They will most likely dissolve this partnership.
Right.
And they will have to appoint someone as their leader in the House, and I can assure you that will go to Smiley Heather. They're going to go right back to square one, put him in as the leader
in Parliament
for the Democratic Party. If they don't, they're going to suffer some more serious consequences. It means that they will have to trim themselves back. As we've said many times, you form a coalition to become government, not to become opposition. They don't need to be in a partnership because they are destined to be in opposition for at least another 2 years.
Well, I mean, this is a dilemma. I guess the new leader of the Democratic Party was hoping that Tina would get in, and that was going to be the person, or else she wouldn't have waited until the by-election was done. So, you think Smiley?
It'll go to Smiley.
Yeah.
They will have no option but to appoint Smiley Heather, and you will see Smiley will put a team around him that will be that will help him.
Right.
He's got rid of Drollett, and you don't let Drollett anywhere near that office because he's a disaster. And he's learnt that lesson. He's been burnt by Drollett. He's been burnt by some of the executive, and he's a lot wiser. And they will form a team around him not because they want to, because they have to.
Now, you were seen having breakfast with Smiley the other day.
Yes.
What did you guys talk about?
We talked about Smiley Heather?
Yes.
Yes, we had breakfast.
There's only one Smiley.
Yeah. I mean, it was no secret. We had breakfast at Salsa, and we just talked about life in general. We used to be very good friends before he went into politics.
Yeah.
And now he understands the media's role a lot better.
Uh-huh.
And, well, we just talked about his options. You know, I offered him some suggestions, and he filled in some details and background stuff I wasn't clear about. But so, you know, my picture as far as he's concerned, my jigsaw puzzle is a lot clearer. And I wished him the best. And, you know, he's down, but he's not out. He's been knocked down, but he hasn't been knocked out.
Betrayed.
Yeah. Well, you know, he's got to put that behind him. But he can see the things a lot clearer for his future now. And he has many options.
Yeah.
And if they don't bring him back and appoint him as their parliamentary leader, they will be severely disadvantaged because of the options that he has.
Right.
And the fact that he's in a safe seat. They won't pick James Beer because his seat is not a guaranteed safe seat. And they cannot afford to have a leader that will lose this seat. You know, they understand now they've got to have a safe seat.
Well, Mr. Bishop's going to be satisfying his sentence in a couple of weeks' time. What sort of role do you think he'll have in the opposition camp? This issue with leadership in Parliament for the Democratic Party, the relationship in terms of the coalition, and then still Black Beauty, Rose, still not having done, I think, the right thing. Maybe she might be doing it now, resigning. And
why do people say about doing the right thing? You know, doing the right thing. This is politics. There is no right thing.
The question. Just
right thing. That's what Demo said. Albert, do the right thing. Well, he did the right thing according to their expectations, and look where that got him. They didn't get them anywhere. They're in a worse position now because he did the right thing.
Well, he got the mandate.
Yeah.
You know, the right way.
Well, he had that all along. You know.
Yeah. Okay.
And if they must play their cards right instead of threatening him and abusing him.
Yeah.
You know, he might have been more compliant and more, sympathetic to what they're on about.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to be analytical about the opposition side, because there are three big issues that have to be dealt with. So you don't think the Rose issue is an issue?
It's not an issue as far as why should she resign? She's the leader.
So put that aside. Yeah. She's the leader of the opposition.
That's right.
Okay, the leader of the Democratic Party in Parliament, you're saying Smiley.
Yes.
Do you think...
don't say I think, I know.
Do you think the leader will be brave enough to do that? To appoint Smiley as the leader in Parliament?
Well, that's not up to her.
Yes,
That's not her privilege.
I think it
caucus
is.
picks their own leader. The caucus members of the Democratic Party will pick their leader for. That's not her privilege. It's not her. She doesn't have a say in that. She may say, "Well, I like this person."
Yeah, this is a party issue. Okay, so she's the leader. It's her prerogative to pick who she wants.
Well, she can, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what will happen.
Right.
I mean, who does she pick?
Well,
you know,
that's what I'm saying, yeah.
You know, she says, I'm thinking about it. Well, she's thinking about it because she doesn't know who. She doesn't have a mandate from the elected members of Parliament. Right. She doesn't command a following from them. She's a leader without followers. That means she's not really a leader, because a leader is a person that has followers.
Can you see the Democratic Party calling another conference soon?
They'll try and risk a lot of things. Eh?
Well, there's nothing to risk, is there?
Well, Eddie Drollett's job, yes. He won't want to call a meeting.
Yeah.
I mean...
well, I think there's bigger things that need to be ironed out. And it might mean, well, he's got to go.
Well,
he's got to go.
The CIP, you know, the Prime Minister gave some hints, and he does that. He does that. If you listen to him carefully, he hints at things. And he was hinting at some things last night.
Yeah, it was pretty...
and not only that, but the demo's got no intel. They got no idea the blows that they're going to suffer after that he's won this, you know, Henry Puna is going to systematically dismantle the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
And when Taylor gets out, his first commitment is to spend time with his family and time on Otitaki.
And then help Henry.
No, he won't be helping Henry. I mean, look at the power play going on now by the Solicitor General to try and, you know.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about that one before we finish this morning. Yeah. But the Prime Minister was pretty cool last night, pretty calm.
Well, he always is. He doesn't get flustered. You know, that's one of his strengths, and he's cultivated that skill over many years.
Okay. Oh well, let's pack the dilemmas of the opposition until aside. Maybe.
Well, let's hope the likes of Wilkie Rasmussen and all these, and Papa William and all these critics get around and start sitting down and say, where did we go wrong? Now, they've gone wrong because they just don't have strategic thinkers.
You know what?
They make an enemy out of the media. You know, they're just dumb.
You know, George, you're absolutely right. You know, the thing about what I know of the members or supporters of Democratic Party is they're too scared to ask the hard questions about themselves.
That's right.
Yeah. They're not willing to, to perform postmortems on themselves, to see where they went wrong and how they can improve or fix things. They just pretend nothing's wrong. Yeah. Well, let's see what happens in, and I'm not saying this because I used to support Democratic Party. I'm still a member, but let's wait and see what happens. We've been having practice.
Well, they got more difficult things to deal with.
Yeah.
Tupo Ferrick is trying his best as a half a president. He's doing the rounds with his leader.
Yeah.
And trying to,
and he hates it.
Well, you see, the other thing is there's no room for Tina Brown to enter into politics as a member of Parliament. Nico's not going to lay down and let her in.
Yeah.
And that tells you something. It tells you she doesn't have the backing and support of Auntie Mo. Any other place in the world, you would give your leader a safe seat. And it's a fact.
Yeah.
Australia and New Zealand, they'll give their leader a safe seat.
Right.
And the party machinery ensures that happens. The only opening that Tina Brown is going to have after the dismal showing of their wonder boy, Dr. Taina Rongo, who tells pork pies and lies. He developed that skill before he even became a politician. Let's hope he undoes that, and doesn't stop going to church now that he's lost.
He was going to church before he became a candidate. That's
sure?
okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know how come he tells lies then. Let's hope that he exorcises himself from that flaw in his intellectual thinking. Anyway,
well,
Tina
George
Brown can now put her hand up and say, I'll stand for Rapa in the next election, because there's nowhere else for her to stand.
Yeah.
If she's running around saying Rakahanga, well, that's just plain nonsense.
Okay.
Rakahanga and like Manihiki have come to a point where they've been so galvanised. The parties have come together, and they don't want to have a contestable election in their islands. The Democratic Party were not going to put up a candidate in Manihiki, except that R.P. Peel decided last minute he'd put his hand up. Well, he's going to be seriously embarrassed. And there's, Rakahanga got the same feeling. Well, our candidate has done so well, done so much for the island. Why interfere with his process and his progress? Let him finish what he's doing, because he's doing such a good job. And the demos in those two islands, they're very reluctant to vote against Henry or vote against Tokahagai. And if she thinks she can go up there and be a candidate for Rakahanga, okay, see if she can get 10 votes out of there. You can't ride on her father's coattails. That's a different generation, a different ball game.
George, let's pack this. Let's ask the coroner Tony Hakaoro, if we can steal some of his time on Friday and go into a little more detail on what we've just been talking on this subject, because I do want to move on briefly to the application made by the Solicitor General in wanting to seize assets of Taina Bishop, in particular Aitutaki Village Limited's assets.
If you do recall, I actually wrote an article that's what they were going to do,
mm-hmm.
and that was all denied at the time.
Yeah,
but on the record, I wrote about that in the Herald.
Mm-hmm.
It was vigorously denied.
Is this the same story that you wrote that you were taken to court for contempt on? No,
it was a specific story about they were going to look at applying the Proceeds of Crime Act.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, that act is predominantly where you have made money illegally.
Mm.
All right? Like you've been selling drugs and you've got all this money stashed away and you've used it to buy assets.
Mm.
Well, Taina Bishop didn't steal any money. He didn't make any money illegally. So they're going to find that pretty hard if they're going to pursue this.
Mm.
And it's not something that the Cook Islands Party government really needs to walk down that track.
Mm. From their perspective, what do you know?
They're not happy with it.
They're not happy with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is this a bad precedence that the Solicitor General is setting up? Because
well, it's not. It's a bad one. It's a stupid one.
Well,
it's
bad
absolutely
as well.
stupid.
It's stupid. Okay, it's stupid, but it's also bad for
politically. It'll be a disaster.
Mm.
I mean,
what do you think this will cost?
Well, they're not going to do it. I guarantee you this will be stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a high risk. I mean, Aitutaki has been softened up by the Cook Islands Party. The roads have been done. A lot of seem to be activity going on.
Mm.
And they will lose all that.
Mm.
They will lose all that support. And that will be a ripple that will become a very serious reaction to the Cook Islands Party.
Mm.
Taina has done his time. He's been browbeaten. He's been, embarrassed. He's had the worst dumped upon him.
Mm.
And now he's about to walk out of jail, and they want to dump some more.
Mm.
And this is not coming from the political masters. This is coming from Crown Law Office.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what this nut case we've got for a Solicitor General is out to prove. But one thing, it means that Taina has to engage lawyers at his expense when he doesn't need this kind of hardship and burden placed upon him.
Mm.
So,
Okay, George, we have to call it quits for this morning. We'll catch up again next week.
Okay, can I say one last thing?
Well, hurry up.
Ha ha ha, said the clown.
Kia ora, this is Tika. You're in the Cook Islands when you're listening to Matariki FM.